Hello, I'm Kevin. Have you ever spent time waiting on the mailman to drop something off that you're really anticipating? Well, I've spent the better part of the last 20 years waiting on a letter from the Pennsylvania Army National Guard saying I had 20 years of good service so I could retire. It's kind of a funny story how I ended up enlisting in the National Guard. I never really sought it out, it kind of found me. I came home from work one day while I was still living with my parents after high school, and there was a note on the refrigerator from a Rick Rude to call. Now, my best friend growing up was a big fan of the WWF wrestling, and there was a wrestler named Ravishing Rick Rude, and he liked to play jokes on my mother, so I assumed it was a message to call him. So I called the number, and it was a recruiter from the Pennsylvania Army National Guard named Sergeant Rick Rude. And he sold me on the National Guard because I really wasn't going anywhere in life, and I wanted to go to college, but I had no way to pay for it. After I enlisted in the Army, they sent me to MEPS, which is a medical evaluation board to make sure you're fit for duty. When I got to MEPS, I got through all the stations just fine, but I can't recall, I don't think I ever took a drug urinalysis test prior to do this in my life, but I couldn't pee in a cup with someone staring at me. I actually had to go down 3 different times before I was able to fill the cup. After I got over my shyness, a few weeks later it was time to go to basic training. But one thing never occurred to me. It never occurred to me to tell my parents I joined the Army or the National Guard. So I woke up in the morning, I had to go to basic training. I was like, how am I going to get there? So I wake my mother up and I'm like, hey, I need a ride to the Armory downtown, about 2 miles from the house, because I'm going to basic training today. She's like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, you got to drive me down. The whole car ride down, not a word was spoken between either of us. When we got there, this is one of the biggest regrets I have in life. My mother asked me for a hug, and I guess I was too tough to give her one, and I said, no, I'll be home in 3 months. After I got back from basic training 3 months later, I just attended drill. It was 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the summer. That was my commitment, and they were going to pay for school. Until September 11th happened. And then the world got crazy, which we all know. My unit got deployed to Germany. People were actually freaking out. It was the greatest year of my life. We had so much fun and I got to see a lot of things. We went to Germany in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, and we pulled security on American installations in Germany so the troops that were normally there can go fight in Afghanistan. After I got home from Germany, we went back to our normal drill schedule. Excuse me. And 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the summer, until 2008 when I actually got deployed to Afghanistan this time. Now, Afghanistan stressed me out a lot. I was a sergeant at this point. I had 14 years in. I was afraid I was going to make a decision to get somebody killed or hurt. But luckily, by the grace of God, we all came home the way we left. At this point, I had 14 years in. I come home from Afghanistan in 2009. I was very stressed out and burned out of the Army. I really wanted to deploy, but I'm still waiting on this. So I'm really waiting on this letter from the National Guard. I had too much time in the 14 years to get out, but I've not enough time in to get my retirement. Well, I did use my time in the National Guard in a good way because I'm about to receive my second degree from Drexel University, and I did go to community college and graduated in the year 2000 and got a degree in building maintenance technology, an associate's degree that I've been working. So I've been working as an electrician and a building engineer and refrigeration tech over the last 18 years. Now, I worked at a cup factory that made Dunkin' Donuts cups and lids. I worked at a huge freezer warehouse, and now I work at NFL Films as a building engineer. I take care of all their HVAC needs and the boilers and stuff like that. NFL Films is the football league. They record the history of football pretty much. Now, my time in the National Guard ended last August. I finally did get my retirement letter. But surprisingly enough, it didn't come in the mail. it got shipped to my unit, and my readiness NCO actually called me and said, "Hey, I have your letter. Can you come up and sign the paperwork?" So, 20 years of waiting on the mailman. That's not how it came. Shocking. But my time in the National Guard, after I reflect on it, was kind of bittersweet. Like, I made a lot of friends through shared hardships, so they're the type of friendships that never go away. I still talk to guys that I was in the Army with 20 years ago, and guys that, were in the unit when I retired. But through it all, I learned how to be a man, and the number one thing I learned from the Army was how to be resilient and hunt the good stuff in life. Now, if you hunt the good stuff in life, you're never going to get depressed. You're always going to come out on top. Now, I have 3 classes left here at Drexel, and the one question I do need to solve or find out about myself and my life after the Army is, what am I going to do when I grow up? Thank you.